You are abusing Section 50 right now.
I'm not abusing
Yes,
Section
you are.
50.
Yes,
I
you
require
are.
you under
West Yorkshire
Section
Police
50
are going to court
to provide your
Section
name
50,
and
I'm
your
taking
address.
Welcome to Noxium, where police power meets public accountability.
This episode is brought to us by News Now Yorkshire. Be sure to check the link below, subscribe to his channel, and give him the credit he deserves. In this episode, Auditor News Now, also known as Michael, is standing outside a police station filming with a friend when officers arrive and immediately attempt to rely on powers they clearly do not understand. Details are demanded under Section 50 without the legal threshold being met. And when Michael calmly pushes back with facts, the response is not reflection, it is a threat of arrest. Instead of backing down, Michael does exactly what these officers never expect. He documents everything properly, converts the incident.
Some reports from some members of the public from the front counter that was feeling a bit harassed. Obviously, by you being in and out of the front counter.
You have been in and out of front
All
counter.
right. Obviously, we've got vulnerable victims.
You have been in and out of front counter.
Just let me explain.
No, let me explain. You have been
We've
in
got
and out.
vulnerable victims
You
in
have
and out
been
of the police station that are feeling a little bit harassed by you filming
No,
around the
you're wrong
station. Right, can I just take your name and your address,
I'll
please?
give you my name on one condition.
No, I'm asking you.
Yeah,
your
and,
name
and I'm
address.
telling you, and I'm replying, I'm saying, you get my name and address on one condition. You take that gang sign off.
What gang sign?
That gang sign
That's
there.
not relevant to why I'm here, is it? Just get your name and address, please, on Section 50 of the Police Reform Act.
Do you believe that I'm committing antisocial behaviour
At
right
this
now?
moment, yes, so that's why I require you to provide your name and your address.
What ground? What makes you think that I'm committing antisocial behaviour?
Especially recording at a police station.
That's recording at a police station is not antisocial.
Right, guys, we've been told, and we've had information from the front counter, that people in there waiting to be seen by officers, victims of crime, are feeling harassed
So we're going to go back
by
around
your
the film them.
behaviour
We're
at the
gonna go
front
back around
counter.
and film
Just
them.
listen
I
to what I'm saying. I'm
You
telling
listen-
you what the information is. You've asked me, let me answer.
This is a complete misapplication of Section 50, and the officer effectively reveals this in his own explanation. Michael and his friend are not filming victims, they are filming the police. Recording a police station from a public place does not constitute harassment simply because someone inside the building may feel uncomfortable. Harassment requires conduct directed at an individual, not the passive act of capturing footage of a building. Michael is not approaching anyone, following anyone, or engaging with vulnerable individuals in any way. The suggestion that filming a facade amounts to harassment of unseen individuals inside the station stretches the definition beyond recognition, and it clearly fails to meet the legal threshold required to justify demanding personal details.
So, they're feeling harassed. Okay.
So you should go and explain to them
we
that
are
filming
going
in
to
public
speak
is
to them in a
completely
moment.
illegal.
We're gonna
It's not
speak to both
harassment,
sides.
and you are abusing Section 50 right now.
I'm not abusing
Yes,
Section
you are.
50.
Yes,
I
you
require
are.
you under
West Yorkshire
Section
Police are
50
going to court
to provide your
Section
name
50,
and
I'm
your
taking them to
address.
court.
What is your name,
You'll
sir?
be next. You'll be next.
What is your name, sir?
What's the details of Section 50 that requires me to give my details? What's the
Constable
wording
in
of the law?
uniform is required. You are required to give your name and address to a constable in uniform if we believe you're acting in an antisocial
And what's the
manner.
belief that we're committing an antisocial
The
behaviour manner?
information that has been
No,
passed.
we've been
You're asking
filming.
me a question.
You could
Let
get
me
arrested,
let
you
me
know.
respond.
Okay, so let's have a conversation.
So that is any person that is not in the same household.
Yep.
Okay. I'm quite happy the people that are feeling alarmed are not from your household.
Correct.
So, under that act, as you well pointed out when I turned up, I require you to provide your name and your address.
Also, under that same act, you have to have reasonable suspicion that I am committing antisocial behaviour.
So I require, if you fail to provide those details, you can be arrested.
Where's the reasonable
So I am
suspicion?
asking you one more
He's asking
time.
you for reasonable suspicion.
Excuse me, I'm not talking to you, sir. I'm asking you one more time to provide your name and your address.
If I'm required to do
Failure to do so, you can be
so,
arrested.
if I'm required to do so by law, then I will. But just before I do, I would like to know what the grounds are that you suspect that I'm committing
I've
antisocial
explained
behaviour.
that to you already.
Michael tells him outright that the power is being misused. Instead of reassessing, the officer doubles down. He begins using vague phrases, suggesting that any person not from the same household being alarmed somehow satisfies the legal requirement. It does not. Section 50 is not triggered simply because someone might feel uneasy. It requires an actual public order offence or a clearly evidenced risk of one. The threat of arrest is the clearest indication that this is not about safeguarding anyone inside the station, it is about forcing compliance. Provide your details or face arrest. That is not law enforcement, it is coercion. Section 50 is reduced to a blunt instrument, not to address disorder but to penalise refusal.
What is your name, please,
No,
sir?
there's no grounds. You don't have grounds. You don't have grounds.
What is your name?
But out of fear of arrest and threat of
I have
violence.
reasonable grounds to suspect, and I've explained
No,
that.
no, you don't.
So I am asking you now to provide your name.
Out of fear of arrest and threat of violence, I will provide you my details.
Right, is there anything I can reasonably do for you to provide, under the Police Reform Act, your name and your address?
You could provide me with reasonable grounds, but like I've just said, under threat of violence, fear.
Definitely threat of violence.
I've explained that.
Fear,
I'm going to ask you one more time.
Let me just
your
finish
name
and then I will.
Your address.
Out of threat of violence, fear, and duress, I will give my details under that section unlawfully.
What's your name, please, sir?
Michael. I'm going to film every single member of public going in that building now.
Michael.
Michael.
And your last name?
Listen, Michael.
Right, I do apologise because the radio's talking to me. We've got cars
quite
pulling
rude
in
to us though, guys.
So, Michael, what is your last name?
I've just given you it.
I'm asking you again.
Hey, listen, you're really rude. No, you're rude.
You're rude because you're abusing Section 50.
Powers, mate. You're rude. We're not the ones that's shouting.
Michael.
No, you're abusing powers, mate. You're very rude. You don't abuse police powers.
I'm asking you again because I didn't hear you.
Well, that's your problem, not mine, isn't it?
Michael provides his details for one reason only. The officer has backed him into a corner with a threat of arrest. That is not cooperation, it is submission. When personal liberty is put at risk, people comply to avoid being detained not because the demand itself is lawful. Then the second officer describes Michael as rude, which is a remarkable assertion. Michael states his surname clearly. The officer fails to hear it, and instead of correcting himself, he reframes Michael as being difficult. That is not accidental, it is narrative control. When officers recognize that a power may have been stretched beyond its limits, the focus often shifts to tone and attitude as a means of justifying what has just occurred. Label the individual as rude, awkward, or obstructive, and the misuse of Section 50 becomes overshadowed by a judgment of character.
Michael, I'm not playing games. I'm asking you for your surname, please.
I've given you it. Under the section of law that you've stated, I've already given you my surname.
Right, and I couldn't hear you because of the vehicles coming in the gate.
Are you recording?
Right, what is your address, Michael?
Do I have to give my address under that section?
Yes.
You don't know your date of birth.
You never asked me for my date of birth, and I'm not required to give my date of birth under that section of law. And this man knows that, that's why I didn't ask.
Guys, you're dismissed. Have a nice day. You are dismissed. We no longer require your services. You're very rude. You came over and abused your powers, talking about antisocial. We're not antisocial. We've been perfectly fine. We've not spoken to one single person. And you know, when I speak to professional standards later, they're going to confirm everything like they always do. All right, I get complaints upheld. I've got 3 civil claims against police forces across the United Kingdom because you're corrupt. Why is there so much police corruption, police abuse? There is, mate.
Why do you always abuse Section 50?
Do you know what, right? Do you know what? You're quite reasonable, you. You are quite reasonable, mate. The way that you hold yourself and the way that you've been speaking to us, but do you know him? He's a bully boy, him.
How would you feel if people start recording at the station? You know, it's not right. It's not the right thing. So we
yeah,
like you said, like this like.
Is that in your opinion or in law? Because in law it says that we can do this, but in your opinion it's that we can't. Exactly, and you abuse Section 50 because of your opinion, because of your ego, and because of your feelings.
Thank you. There you go, Michael. We act within the boundaries of the law, and we know what we're doing.
He abandons the law entirely and shifts to personal opinion. How would you feel it's not the right thing? That is not a legal test, it is a moral lecture, and Michael identifies it immediately. The law does not ask officers how they might feel if the roles were reversed. It requires an assessment of whether the conduct is lawful. Officers are trained to apply objective standards, reasonable suspicion, specific offences, and identifiable victims. None of these depend on hypothetical appeals to empathy. When officers rely on questions like, "How would you feel?" it is often because they cannot point to a power that genuinely applies. Michael calling this out is significant, as it highlights the clear distinction between what the law permits and what an officer might prefer people not to do.
We said on the beginning of this video, which is going to show, we're at Hull Police Station today, right? And we're going to show you guys today if Hull Police Station want to abuse the powers of the Section 50. And I said that before I even spoke to you guys.
Right, guys, we've got your details, okay?
Yeah, have a nice day. You're dismissed, guys.
Okay, so...
We don't need your advice.
Thank you very much.
No, your advice is
don't abuse anybody. Your advice is don't abuse anybody. Don't be brutalising members of public.
Stop abusing Section 50.
Don't do that, mate, because it happens frequently, all right? And people are scared of that
certainly
uniform.
Don't within this force.
Yes, it does, mate. I would only
so what I'm advising you both, gents, words of advice.
Homicide police officers. I was only up here last week reporting on corruption, not homicide police.
I'm off in front office right now, mate. What are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Do you want to do nothing? So words of advice, stay away, because members of the public feeling harassed.
We don't care, mate. We're not harassing nobody. We're not harassing nobody, mate.
I'm asking you to stay away.
I feel harassed by you now. You're harassing me now.
I don't need your advice, mate. Go away.
If we need to speak to you again, we will do, gents.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a lovely day.
Bye-bye.
Have a lovely day.
We're going to go front counter now, yeah? After the situation, we did our usual thing and we spoke to H&K solicitors. And HNK solicitors, like in Barton, they dealt with everything. And I got a nice £1,000 payout from Homicide Police. Big up to Lee Freeman. What a legend.
They leave believing they have prevailed because in that moment they obtained what they wanted: names, compliance and silence. That is always the mistake. Michael does not need the final word on the pavement. He allows time and due process to do the work. The £1,000 award is not dramatic, but it is precise, a clear acknowledgement that the officer's interpretation of the law could not withstand scrutiny. And once again, the cost falls nowhere near those responsible. The officers return to duty unchanged, while the public ultimately funds the lesson that was never learned on the street. That is why these incidents continue to occur. When the consequences of misusing powers are absorbed by the force as a faceless payout, there is no real incentive to improve decision-making. If even a fraction of these awards carried financial or professional consequences for the officer involved, Section 50 would not be used so casually. What makes this episode stand out is not only the misuse of power, but how casually it was exercised. There is no urgency, no disorder, no genuine threat, just officers comfortable with escalation because they assume there will be no consequences. They rely on the expectation that most individuals will comply, provide their details, and quietly move on. Michael did not. He allowed the process to run its full course. And when it did, the officer's version of events could not withstand examination beyond the street where it originated. Many of you have expressed the same view in the comments. This continues because the consequences are too lenient. That assessment holds weight. When unlawful conduct results in nothing more than a payout absorbed by the force, there is no meaningful corrective pressure. Real change occurs when the misuse of powers has a direct impact on career progression and personal accountability. Training is important, but consequences are what ultimately shape behavior. Until officers understand that abusing legislation carries repercussions for them personally, not the taxpayer, these encounters will continue to repeat. That concludes today's video. If you found this episode informative, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Your support helps sustain independent coverage like this. Also, don't forget to check out News Now Yorkshire. His channel is linked in the description. Show him your support. Thank you for watching.